Hi, Jazz. I'm so happy you're the first guest.
I'm honored to be the first guest.
Thank you for coming.
Yes, thank you for having me. I didn't know I was going to be the first. I was, slightly surprised, but also, like I said, very honored.
It's a pleasure to have you here, and it's been such a long time.
I know. What, a year? It's weird because you live in the same city.
Yes.
We do the same thing. See each other.
It's crazy. It's been, I guess, in January, so almost 1 year now.
Almost 1 year, yeah.
It doesn't feel like we haven't met for such a long time. Because
That's
I
true.
have been looking at your Instagram a lot.
And I've been following yours as well. Yours and seeing what you're up to and all of that. But again, nothing beats meeting face to face. I always love that.
So today I wanted to talk a little bit about your acting career. And I think a lot of people are so curious about what brought you to Korea. I mean, if it really was like, okay, I want to become like an actress in Korea, or was it just by accident?
I think for me it was half and half. I loved watching K-dramas, and I started with K-dramas, not K-pop. Started watching K-dramas, fell in love, started listening to the music, and I really enjoyed it. And like, I always found K-dramas to be very different from the US market in general. The storytelling was vastly different, and they were a lot more conservative in terms of skinship and all that. And personally, I enjoyed that a lot more. But I never actually thought I would be working in K-dramas. Like, I had some of my favorite actors. I would enjoy watching them so much. And I knew I wanted to come to Korea, which I did. I came here and studied abroad, then went back to the States and started working. And I wanted to be an actor since I was 7, but because family was against it, all of that. I come from an Asian family, so it's a given, even though I'm American. So there was all of those things working against me. So I just kind of like, all right, I guess I won't do it. Ended up back in Korea teaching English and started doing stuff in front of the camera, which wasn't acting, it was mostly modeling, which I never considered before. And I realized just how much I missed doing stuff like that, just being creative and being in front of a camera. And I realized, I don't think I could give this up. So I decided that I was going to try to pursue it. However, at the time, COVID happened. So I was back in the States, everything shut down. I was like, where do I start my acting career? Finally was able to convince my parents to be on board. And then I realized my biggest network was in Korea. So I thought, all right, let's go back. It was also something that I wanted to do. It was always in the back of my mind. Why not try it? I know people, I have met people in the industry, and they can probably connect me to agencies and stuff like that. And then I came back, and that's where the journey started.
So when was the first time you came to Korea?
2014.
2014, it's been 10 years.
I was a student.
Wow.
I was a student, and then came back in 2018 as an English teacher. Left in 2020, right before COVID became crazy. Was in the US for about a year, came back in January 2021. And I've been here since. And I've been acting since then. I'm modeling.
And do you remember your first acting job?
Yes, I do. It was a drama shoot. I was terrified. It was for the drama Mouse with Lee Seung-gi. And we met really early, and we drove about 2 hours outside of Seoul. And I remember that I got in the bus, and there was nobody I knew. And then somebody I knew came in. It was Renee. She came in. I was like, oh my God, I finally know somebody. And I didn't know the casting agency at all. I just, they said, hey, it's their first time working with us. I was like, yes, I just got back to Korea. I didn't know what I was doing. I was so scared. Like, they were moving us around constantly, trying to get the perfect shot. And they were like, you there, your hair, loosen it, don't tie it. And I'm like, I just pulled out my hair tie, like, what do you want me to do? And it was because I had been in another shot with my hair up. So they were like, now you need to put your hair down.
So you were another character?
I was another character. But it was chaotic because I didn't know anybody. I felt so out of place. I only knew like 1 to 2 people, and everybody was talking to each other and, being like, hey, how's it been? And they were talking to the casting agency, and I felt so out of place. Like, is this right? Should I be here? It was a weird feeling. And now that same casting agency is my company. I'm so close to them. So it's weird how that works out.
10 years after.
I know, 10 years. Wait, is it 10 years? No, it's 3 years ago.
So your first acting job was 3 years ago. Oh wow.
It has not been so long. I mean, I did act a little bit in the States, of course. I studied acting in college as well, without my parents knowing. And I've been acting since I was very young. Like, I did plays and musicals and all of that. And in college, I was in my college did a promotional video, and I got cast in that. So that was my first official job in the States. And my last one, for now.
No, it's, I mean, we're coming. Wow. I didn't know that. So mouse. So what was your role?
In that one?
Yeah.
I was just playing like a student. But the cool part was I got to do a bunch of things. Like, I got to play a student studying science. I was playing with robots. I was a DJ at one point. And then another point, I was just sitting in the cafeteria having like a full specially prepared meal for me. And another part, I was working with divers that were researching aquatic animals. So it was really cool. And that's when it cemented for me, like, this is what I want to do, because I got to fill so many shoes.
Yeah. Same here. That's also like, you can like just experience so many like different characters.
Yeah.
But that's what like when I thought of, that's why I was asking what was your role, because very often if like the ending credits come up, I played so often 외국인 1, 외국인 3. Yes. Does it happen to you too? So the credits is always like the roles I'm getting.
외국인 1. Yes. That is so true. I have been credited in a couple of things, and actually it's been nice because they put my full name. So for me, the struggle was figuring out what name I want to use. Like, do I want to use Jazz, which is my nickname, or Jaspreet, which is my full name? And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to use both. So I went Jaspreet, you know? It was like a struggle finding that out. But I have seen credits rolling up, and it's like, 외국인 하나, 외국인. Like, what? They have names. What is happening?
But do they always credit you in English or also in Korean?
In the ones I've done, I've been credited in English.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I think that's something you should like always tell people, because sometimes they would just call me like Anna, like in Hangul, in Korean.
And it doesn't... Yeah, I understand. Yeah, they've always really asked, like, what do you want to be credited as? I've been lucky enough where they asked. And there's been a lot of roles I'm not credited for, actually.
Oh, really?
So... Okay. I'm there, just my name isn't there.
And a typical foreigner question. So what's your visa right now?
The artist visa, E6.
E6, okay. Yeah. So you have to renew it like every year?
Every year.
Is it like very stressful?
It is very stressful because, you know, you have to be able to get that letter of recommendation from the Ministry of Culture. And in order to get that recommendation letter, you need to prove that you've been working in the industry and actually doing jobs related to the industry. So you need to have proof. Validation, all of that. So the first year, it didn't know I was supposed to do all that. My company didn't tell me that I was supposed to take photos and all of that. And it was tough trying to scramble and pull all of that before I was renewing my visa. But the last 2 years, my company has done all of that for me. I've been very lucky, so I'm very, very thankful for that. Because it's really hard for somebody who looks like me to get a lot of roles in Korea. Because Korea, yes, there are more people who are getting roles in Korea, more foreigners, but the truth is Korea is a homogenous society. So the K-dramas, the movies, they're made for Koreans, which is fine. That's how it's supposed to be, right? That's how they want to watch their own stories being told on screen. However, I think with the globalization of K-pop and K-dramas, they're slowly starting to integrate more foreigners. However, that has mostly gone towards being either older white females, and it rarely trickles down to a person of color and someone that is a little bit more what Koreans consider as more ambiguous, such as myself. So I'm really grateful for my company for pushing me for roles that normally they would have cast somebody else for, and very grateful for that.
Did you have a role where you thought it's so stereotypical? Why do they use like me just because I look like I am?
A number of times I've played a prostitute.
Really?
Yes. I've also played a labor worker, obviously, and I've been kidnapped so many times.
But being kidnapped has to mean
there's perks. There's perks, especially when the lead comes to save you. There's perks. Yeah.
I remember we did that
audition tape
video.
for me in workshop. There's that. So it's always like being kidnapped. But on the other side, I've also played being a reporter or the lead's best friend from the States, something like that. So I feel like I've had a variety of different roles. I've played nurse, I haven't played doctor yet. Gotta get there. Make my parents proud, you know?
Finally, she's a doctor.
Finally. So I was like, I've played a nurse, I've played a reporter, I've played the lead's best friend, I've played student so many times. And then on the other side, I've been a labor worker, I've been a prostitute, a drug addict. So there's a whole, a list.
But that's I think you started doing more Instagram, also like self-promotion. There was a turning point when I saw on your social media, you're now like promoting yourself more as an actor, which I thought was very brave. Because I was thinking about it for a long time, and I kind of always thought I want to be like a mysterious actor, and that was like so great to see also like the reactions, and also I wrote a lot of comments just like because it's very important, I think. How did you come to it? And
honestly, I've always enjoyed creating content and all of that, but it's a lot of work, so I just got lazy and never did it. And one of my best friends, she is a content creator in Korea, and she's always been trying to push me to make all of those, and I'm always very like, it's a lot of work, all of that stuff. And then one day I was just sitting there, and one drama came out with my favorite actor, and I was sitting there thinking, I really want to make this real. And you're like, he rolled up his sleeves for me. Transitions to him or something. And I told my friend this idea, and she said, oh, okay, give me a moment. Makes the reel, sends it to me here. Wow, you really made it so fast. I posted it. It went crazy. That's never happened to me before. And it was a combination of the content itself, right? It was a really big actor, and that drama itself was very popular at the time. Also, it was her. She is amazing when it comes to what works and what doesn't. She has an eye for these things. She's an amazing content creator, which is why she is my social media, basically, manager. So all the content that I've been posting, it goes through her before it goes up. And a lot of it is re-edited or edited by her in the first place.
oh wow, and it's good to have somebody.
And the captions and everything, it comes from her. And that one went crazy, and so she said, okay, we're gonna ride this momentum. And I started slowly seeing more and more followers. And at that point, that was April this year, I was at like 6K. And she was like, okay, we're gonna ride this momentum. Immediately starts making more and more reels, because she said, you're sitting on a gold mine. Because I've been in so many productions, but I never really post about them or talked about them. So she took all of these things and started just pumping out content. And within, I believe, 2 weeks, I went from 6K to 60. It was insane. I kind of shut down because I didn't know what to do. Because yes, social media is important, but at the end of the day, I'm still somebody who walks on the street nobody recognizes. And it's very humbling, right? No matter how big you are on social media, no one really knows you in the street, and that's fine. Because it's two different things. And it was a very humbling experience, but I also was very just like, what do I do with this? So I kind of just sat in my room for like a week looking at my phone, being like, is this where it's going? What do I do? Am I a content creator? Am I an actor? I went through like a identity crisis as well. And now I'm just running with it.
But did it also get you like more jobs?
It did to some extent in terms of work related to social media. For casting wise, not as much, but for social media, yes. And I was very thankful for that because it is now monetized. So I'm able to use that money also to pay for my rent, basically, because girls gotta live, right? And eat.
That's nice. Because I think like I saw a lot, and also like from recent dramas you did. I thought it was very inspiring because when I started acting in Korea, a lot of people from India actually asked me, is it possible for an Indian girl to become an actress in Korea? I always wanted to refer you and say, yes, you see, it's possible.
Honestly, seeing people such as Anupam succeed, it's amazing. One, he's a really amazing actor. And two, he's worked really hard. He's been here for a long time. He's worked really hard. So I'm really happy for him. The level of success he's achieved, he definitely deserves it. There is no, I don't want to say I'm the first, but I do know that there hasn't really been an Indian actress in Korea as far as I know. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, it's true.
And I feel kind of burdened sometimes with that a little bit because I feel like I need to prove something to some extent. But at the same time, I've realized that there are people who see what I have achieved and they realize, oh, I can also do this. Because I was in their shoes. Being from an Indian family, even though I am from the US, I'm Indian American. However, I was born in India and raised in the US, so I have both cultures. And I'm very much connected to my Indian heritage as well. And my parents were always against me acting in this. And at the same time, I wasn't seeing anybody that looked like me in main roles, even in Hollywood, let alone Korea, you know? And even I feel sometimes in Bollywood, now it's changing, but back then I didn't really see somebody with a little bit more darker skin tone. So it was difficult for me to pursue my dream without seeing somebody who looks like me. So if somebody can see what I'm doing and think, I can also do this, I think I feel pretty fulfilled.
Yeah, I definitely think you're like a role model for many young people who want to like pursue an acting career in Korea.
I feel like those are big shoes to fill, but thank you for saying that.
I really think it's needed because people like they have this kind of like vague dream about acting in Korea and they really want to do it. I also want to be in a K-drama, but they don't know what it takes also to come there.
It's a lot of work, yeah. And I'm sure a lot of people do know it takes a lot of work. I'm not downplaying anybody's opinions about or your dreams, but I mean I still do. I do a lot of legwork and that includes a lot of extra work where you're just sitting there and sitting there for hours and hours waiting for the 2 seconds that you're gonna be on screen, right? That's the reality of it.
Yeah.
You start from the bottom and you work your way up. And and it doesn't go like this. You don't go like this. It's like this. I went to the Busan International Film Festival 2 years ago where I did the short film. And that same month, I shot the film, then went back for the red carpet. And I was walking on the red carpet feeling imposter syndrome because all these people are waving to me thinking I'm this big celebrity. I took that plane home that night, went back to my half-basement apartment in Seoul. The next day I'm walking on the street, nobody knows me. You realize this career has a lot of ups and downs. You never know what's going to happen. And it's very humbling, actually. And it's hard because you go from feeling like you're on top of the world. It's an actor's dream to walk on the red carpet, to tell people, look, I made it. And to be able to send that video to my mom and dad and say, look, mom and dad, it's not just any film festival, it's BIFF, you know? To be able to say that to my parents and then feel so fulfilled that I achieved something and then go back and that same week do more extra work. It was very, very hard, but at the same time, like I said, very humbling because you realize success being an actor is not linear.
Yeah.
You're always bouncing back. Always.
And I mean, I know that you're also in the acting crew. I think like it's really important to have that kind of community of people who are in the same industry to tell each other you're doing good and it's not always going to be like this.
Because there are so many people in that acting group, that workshop, that have been in quite big roles in Korean dramas and they shoot a lot of work in LA as well. And they always share their experiences and you realize it takes time. It takes a really long time. And I think the best part is that everybody is a different age and at a different journey in their acting career. And it really helps you feel more validated because that ageism is very much an issue where you feel like you're running out of time because you're reaching a certain age, especially for women. I feel,
Yes.
you know, you're reaching a certain age, you can't play the main lead, you're gonna play the mother, right? I just, it was really nice just to be with actors who are from various different backgrounds, not just, they're not all Americans, they're not Koreans, they're not from one country. You have people from Germany, you have people from England, you have people from California's honest. I'm so sorry. You have people from the US, from England, from Canada, from Korea, from Germany, and Mexico, right? We have people from all over be in that workshop. So it's very nice to get those experiences and realize that whenever you start your acting journey, it's okay. It's the right time for you.
Yeah. And everybody's so sincere about acting,
Yes.
but it's such a safe space. That's what I like.
I do
Because I think a lot of like, especially in the acting industry, it's not like there are a lot of, I don't know if it's like, because I have also been like in the field a lot.
You are in the field.
Yeah. And I felt like it's always so much elbowing.
Oh yeah, let me go first.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Yeah.
And having that safe space to also like try out things. I think it's so important every week to like have people to share that kind of like love and support.
And to be able to just experiment with different roles.
Yeah.
I feel like I've done some of my best acting work in that workshop, really, and I've seen some of your best acting work as well in that workshop. It was, and I think I'm always learning. And for me, some of the hardest acting work is comedy. Comedy is so hard for me, but I always try to challenge myself and do it. And it's always so nice to do that in the class and realize, okay, I'm getting somewhere, you know? But also in the workshop, you have people that are really good at comedic scenes, and you have people that are really great at dramatic scenes and somewhere in between as well. And it was so nice to watch everything and just learn. You're just soaking everything up like a sponge. It's so nice.
That's true.
And everybody's acting style is slightly different because we've all learned from different acting teachers and we've all learned different acting techniques, right? So I'm more focused on the chobok technique right now. We have people that are more Meisner focused. There are some people that are more method acting, and it's just you pick up little bits here and there.
You did a lot of acting workshops also, right?
Like classes?
Yes.
Yes. So I want to say it's been about 2 years now. I've been taking chobok acting classes in Korea at the chobok studio. I love my teacher. She's amazing. I've learned so much because I've tried other acting techniques and they worked to some extent for me, but there was always something missing for me. And when I took the chobok class for the first time in 2022, I believe it blew me away. I was like, this is it. I found what works for me. You know, I think just in general, acting in Korea, you only see what's on the screen, right? The end result. And that scene is maybe 15 seconds long. You're like, wow, that was really short. And there's maybe 5 actors in that 15-second long scene. And you're just watching and going, I want to be part of that. It doesn't take that long to shoot. That 15-second scene is going to take 7 hours. It's very tiring. So I think that was really difficult to get with, that just like realizing that even the shortest scene, even if it's just an actor walking on the street, can take so long. So long. And I've been in scenes with actors where there's about 6 of us, including me, and
what he has to be good at is waiting. I think that's the biggest skill you need.
I've gotten very good at waiting. Very, very good at it. And I've gotten very good at waiting without using my phone. I just blankly stare.
That's good.
And meditate. It's like, are you okay? I'm like, I'm fine. I'm just in La La Land. Imagining somewhere that I'm in the tropics, especially in the winter.
I was also curious because you did so many different roles. And of course, a lot of them were also speaking roles, also image roles. But is there like, I would have loved to do this kind of role or like this kind of project. Of course, like everybody wants to also become a main actor in some project, and you did so many also short films. Is there maybe something you said, you would say, I would love, somebody should write that kind of like play or like short film or movie?
I want to play a woman, a female powerhouse. I never really get roles with power, I feel. And I don't know why. Pretty powerful. But on screen, I'm always very weak. I want to be a powerful woman on screen, but also the villain. Just because it's fun. It is fun because at the end of the day, you're not that person. But it's so cool to figure out this character's reasonings for doing it. Because you never judge a character and their motives behind each action. It's so much fun to figure out all of that stuff. So I really want to play that. But first I want to just play a powerful female character on screen. Whether it is a businesswoman, whether it is the princess of a country who is in power and doesn't need anybody to go and save her. You know what I mean?
Did you know that in Gyeongju, the southern city, there is a tale of an Indian princess?
Yes,
I
I've
just
heard.
thought somebody should write it for her, please.
Please. I've heard that so many times that in the past, long time ago, there was an Indian, is it a queen or a princess? Princess?
I think it was a princess.
Yes, who originated from India and married into the royal family. It's amazing. Why hasn't nobody written that yet? Considering that there is a huge population of K fans in India.
I know.
I did not know how big it was until I started getting those fans on my Instagram. So I realized that there is a huge population of fans of Korean culture, K-pop, K-food, K-dramas, and skincare, all of that. It's a whole market they're missing.
Yes.
You really should tap into that. Yes, they're open. Tap into that.
Yeah.
I'm here waiting. Come on.
I was also wondering, because we always speak in English, how about your Korean skills?
My Korean skills? I would say they're pretty good.
And do you also think it's necessary to... Like,
to some extent, yes. Yeah. I think if you're going to be in Korea for very short term, 1 year, 2 years, learning the basics to get you by is okay. But for me, it's very important that I was able to communicate with Korean friends, with people around me, that I didn't have to always rely on a Korean person to help me when it came to going places. So I tried really hard to learn, but also I really love languages. I grew up speaking Punjabi, and I learned Hindi in school as well, and I watch Bollywood movies, which are mostly in Hindi. And I also understand Urdu, which is very close to Hindi actually, but it has a lot of words that are different. So there are a lot of differences, but it's similar to each other. So I understand it, and then I learned English when I moved to the US, and then I learned Korean. So I really love languages. I'm currently trying to learn Chinese, and it's going very slowly.
But I think it's for me, I think it's very important to also learn Korean if you want to work on set.
Definitely.
Just like to really get what the director all the stuff people say.
And a lot of the times you're getting the script in Korean.
Yeah.
Even if it's a role written for a foreigner, the script is in Korean. And the scenario is in Korean. You have to be able to understand that. So I think it's very, very important to speak Korean to some extent. That way, when you're on set and they're giving directions, you're able to understand that. If your goal is to work in the Korean film industry, if you're coming in as a foreign actor who is cast in a Korean production, obviously it's very difficult, right? But if you live here and your ultimate goal is to work for a long time, very, very vital skill to have.
I have to say, I'm a little bit sad when I heard that you're going back to the States.
I'm sad too.
Because I thought, wow, Jess is like fine, like she really like is building up her career, and now like it kind of like felt the first time for me like leaving at the peak. Like of course it's not like the peak. You will succeed everywhere. I'm very sure of that, but having built putting so much effort in building up a career here in Korea. I was kind of like a little bit shocked.
A lot of people were shocked, to be honest, and it's not a decision I made lightly. A lot of sleepless nights, to be honest, and it has to do with some personal things that have been happening in my family as well. And I think the other part is that I do feel at times that I've hit a ceiling in Korea when it comes to the roles being offered to me and the opportunities. And yes, there could be a really big role that I'm missing out on when I leave. But I can't keep waiting for that what if or when. And I think right now I really want to try and make bigger opportunities for myself and come back. It's not goodbye.
Yeah.
It is a, hey, I'll see you later kind of thing. And I'm not giving up on working in K-dramas. No, never. I want to be here. I want to work in K-dramas. But I also miss my family. I also miss being away from home. I'm missing a lot of milestones in my family, my brother's graduation and so many weddings of friends. It's been really hard being away. And I really want to go back and be with my friends and my family and still pursue acting. And this time I'm going with my parents' full support, which feels really nice. They're 100% on board this time because I've achieved some level of success. So they finally realize, oh, she can actually do this. Because with my parents, they need the results. They're not going to really support me without the results. They're like, we need to see that you can actually do something. So yeah, it does feel like I'm leaving at the peak. And I'm scared. I'm very, very scared. But like I said, it's not goodbye. It's just, I'll come back later.
I agree. And like also as a foreigner living in Korea, I can feel so with you with the milestones you're missing.
Yeah, it's hard.
Like it's so important also to be with your family. And I really think that it's not a goodbye because now like even people are always searching for new stories, and I believe that must be somebody to write the Indian princess story.
I hope so.
And
maybe
then
I should write it. Doing some research.
You should like come back for this big project, and
it would be really nice. Yeah, and honestly, it's very sad because I love working here. I love being in K-dramas, and there's been some projects that I've done that aren't out yet, so I will still be posting all of those things. But yeah, I mean, I could go back home and then I am getting contacted for a casting that's a big role. I know that I'm going to feel a lot of regret. But at the same time, it's been quite difficult living in Korea and trying to survive on being an artist, because one thing people don't realize is when you come on the artist visa to Korea, you're not allowed to do anything else. You cannot work at a cafe to support yourself. You cannot work at a restaurant. You cannot do other jobs. You can only do a job related to the entertainment industry. It's really hard to survive on just that because there are dry months when you don't have a lot of work. And it's hard to pay the bills. That's the reality of it. But if you're working in your home country, you don't have those restrictions. Yes, it's still hard, very difficult to be an artist anywhere, but you're not restricted by the visa limits.
That's a big thing.
That's what really propelled my decision. Because yes, in the last couple of months, things have been going really well for me. And I've finally been able to pay the bills without worrying about a lot of things, which has been a really nice feeling. But over the last 3 years, I've struggled immensely. It's been really hard.
I still remember, like, I mean, recently I didn't have the time to come to the acting study group that much. But in the beginning, we always had like 10 minutes to talk about like your week.
Yes,
and it was always like, so finally I got the fee from like 3 months ago.
3 months ago, I finally got paid. Yes.
Yeah. So it's always like a lot, also like, okay, I got this audition or so, but it was always a lot about, okay, I got this job and now I can like afford the next 2 months to live on that.
Yeah.
And this is just reality.
That's the reality of it. And yes, it is hard being an actor. It is very difficult being an actor anywhere. But if you really want to come to Korea and become an actor or work in K-pop or any part of the entertainment industry, I think one thing you need to realize is that you cannot work beyond your visa. So you truly need to be able to be ready to jump headfirst into it and be ready to struggle. There's been so many months when I did not have money to buy food. And those were tough. Those are tough times. Because not having money to go get yourself a coffee is one thing. But if you're like, I'm hungry, but I can't get groceries, that's not a good feeling.
No.
No.
That's a good point. I think a lot of people like don't think about that.
Yeah. Like this time around, I was working without any day off for the last 3 months. But because we get paid late for some things, I went to BIF again this time. I walked that red carpet again with 5,000 won in my account. I was in shock that I was here being treated like a celebrity with 5,000 won in my account because I hadn't been paid for anything at that point. And when I did get paid, it was only enough to cover my living expenses, and then I was back down to that man-won balance. That's just the reality of it. You go up and down.
Yeah. And then there's some months which you go really well, and then a dry season.
Dry season. And usually that's around winter time. It's pretty dry.
Yeah. Not that many shootings.
It's cold. Nobody really wants to go out.
But I guess there are some projects coming up.
Kind of, yeah.
Like being released in the next year.
Yes, I mean, they're not... Well, one of them is the short film I did. Very excited for that one. It is a story of a refugee who comes to Korea, and probably one of the toughest roles I've done. I had to go swim in the ocean, and I'm terrified of water. I had to swim in the ocean in the end of October. So it was freezing, and I was crying because I'm scared. But it worked, because that's
like, oh, she's scared, she's so good at
that's the emotion I had to show. So it was like half acting and half like reality. But it was one of the toughest roles I've done, and it was a 3-day shoot. We shot for 3 days, full days, and it's a short film. It's a student production, but I'm really excited for it because I believe the director wants to submit it for some film festivals, so we'll see how it goes. But either way, to me, regardless of how big or small the job is, it's still acting, so I'm just excited to see what the results are.
I'm also excited. I mean, we'll stay in touch.
Yeah. And then there's a couple of dramas where I've had image roles, so I'm excited to see that. One of them where I was trained to be an Olympic shooter, so we'll see if they don't cut me out of the shot, because that happens a lot. You can work really hard for something and then you just don't show up. Unless you're the main, you're not guaranteed anything.
That I'm really excited for everything that's coming, even apart from Korea, and I'm sure you're coming back. I think so many people know you already, and if they have like a role...
I hope so. I've been kind of telling agencies like, hey, I'm leaving, but if the role is big enough, I'm willing to come back. It's true, I am. I'm willing to come back, but it has to be something substantial, for sure.
And is there anything maybe you want to share to like people, to say something about like people who want to pursue an acting career in Korea?
I think be realistic. That's one of the best advice I can give. I kind of accidentally started in Korea, and I'm lucky that it worked out for me. Of course I wanted to as well, but it was never like I'm gonna be an actor in Korea, because delulu at times, because there aren't any roles right now, main roles for a foreigner yet. And I say yet because it is coming. So be realistic. Be realistic about the time limit you're gonna give yourself, the financial aspect of it, and what kind of roles will be coming your way, and also the beauty standards of Korea. Those are very important. And of course, break the standards. I'm always for that.
Yeah, me too.
That's what we're always here to do, right? But be aware of them, because you don't want to feel hurt. You will. I have been. But that doesn't mean you can't break them. But what I mean is be aware of them.
Yeah. And also like just to have a community who supports.
Yes, very much. Very
that's
much
so important.
It is very much so to have a community. And by community, I don't mean surround yourself with people who are from the same place as you. Surround yourself with people from various places, because you never know what kind of experiences those individuals have, and you can learn so much from people. And also from people's mistakes. You cannot make them all yourself.
That's true.
But I think I've been lucky because I have friends from all over the world now, and I've become a better person for it, because it truly is eye-opening. You learn so much about the world. And before, I felt like I was living, of course we all feel like we're living in a bubble, right? And I thought, I'm not in a bubble. I'm so good. I'm learning about the world. I went to a very liberal university. I'm good. And then I realized maybe I was still in a bubble. And it's nice to hear from people.
All right. I think we can wrap that up. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
it was so nice to talk to you.
Same here. I feel like we've never really had this kind of conversation before, so it's nice.
And I wish you all good luck.
Thank you. I'm very nervous, but hopefully Hollywood wants me. Marvel, I'm coming for you.